Hello, everyone. Let me know if you are hearing me. Just let me know if you are hearing me. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the webinar. And just let me know if you are hearing me. Just type in the chat if you are hearing me so that I can see that you are hearing me in the chat. Just type in the chat if you are hearing me. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Share the link with other people. Let them join. Share the people with other individuals that you know that might be interested or they have forgotten to attend. Just share the link with them and let them attend also. Thank you for confirming that you are hearing me. Thank you for confirming that you are hearing me. Also prepare for your questions. Okay, so prepare for questions also. We're going to have a question and answer segment. As we move forward. So prepare just for questions. We are just going to wait for 2 more minutes so that other people might join and see how it goes. All right, thank you so much for coming. I think we can just get started right now and then we see how it goes. So get prepared to ask me questions at the end. I'll be checking the chat as we go. If anything happens, maybe you're not hearing me, just let me know through the chat because I'll be checking the chat all the times. So just a quick introduction. My name is Gibson Skauke, and I was also an international student, like most of people who attend these webinars at some point in time. And I had my old journey also of the EB2 NIW journey, and I was successful. And now I'm helping other people to also travel the same path to unlock the same opportunities that I did. So my background is I came studying a master's in global management, and then I founded two companies, and then I used those two companies to put an application for EB2 NIW. It was approved. Apparently, the application itself was approved in 4 days. I did not use a lawyer. I crafted everything myself. I created evidence, and then I wrote the application myself. And then it was also approved. So now I'm helping people actually to just do the EB2 NIW, the EB1, and also to help people understand the how to start companies or to navigate OPT as founders, and also to navigate OPT as international students whilst they're waiting for their green card applications, basically EB2 NIW or EB1-A, right? And just to make other people understand that it's a journey that you have to travel. It's a journey that you have to work for. It's a journey where you create evidence. It's not something that is instant. So it's actually a journey from the day you come to school, your first semester, the day you graduate, you do your OPT and maybe STEM OPT, and maybe you then apply for a green card through EB2, NIW, or EB1A, or even go through OPT, STEM, OPT, and then H1B, and then during H1B, maybe you do EB2, NIW, or EB1A, right? Whatever you do. But it's a journey that you really have to understand that you have to travel. And also I help other people to unlock the same path because I've seen that among a lot of immigrants, and even people who are not yet in the USA, who have got PhDs, who are researching, who qualify for this pathway, a lot of people do not connect their immigration process to their career vision or agenda, right? So it's like they're separated, they're pursuing this in their career, but at the same time, they're also trying to pursue a green card. And at the end of the day, those two are not connecting to each other. So what happens is usually the immigration strategy will not work in that case. So most importantly, what I try to help people with is to connect your career and your immigration strategy so that it becomes one story, it becomes one thing, because basically you have to use your career then to get a green card, right? So if you are doing well with finding a good career, working around your career, most likely also your immigration strategy will be easier to tackle. So yeah, so that's what I do. And right now, I'll move on with the slides. So basically, there are two ways that I'm trying to help people with here, the EB2 NIW and the EB1A, right? So I'll just go through quickly understanding the EB2 NIW pathway. So the employment-based green cards, they range from EB1 to about EB5, right? So EB1A falls under EB1, which is um, I will explain about it a little bit down, but right now let's talk about EB2 NIW, of which most people actually do qualify for EB2 NIW, right? So usually you need a degree, a master's degree, or you need a bachelor's degree with 5 years working experience, or you just need exceptional ability. Exceptional ability is where you have just done something, not necessarily that you have a bachelor's degree or you have a master's degree, but you've just done something exceptional, right? And then you need to have a work that you're proposing to do that is in the US national interest, right? And that work has to have substantial merit. So they use what they call a three-prong test or the Danasa test, or the Danasa framework, where it checks whether what you're going to be doing, your work has significant value, it has got importance, it is of substantial merit, and it is within the national interest, right, of the United States government. And then the number two is they actually check if you are well positioned to actually accomplish this work. Are you the right person to do it as you are actually claiming? And then number three is they just check if they're going to a waive for you or the labor certification requirement, right? Because there's also another EB2 where you go through an employer and then you go through what they call labor certification requirement, right? And that takes a long period of time. But in the EB2 NIW, you are waived from that. That's why it's called NIW, which means National Interest Waiver, right? So they check those three things. Like these are the stages, right? And there are other videos where I really describe this very much into detail. So I'll go to the next slide, which is like the EB1-A, the extraordinary ability, right? So the EB1-A, extraordinary ability, basically what it does is you apply as someone of extraordinary ability, right? Extraordinary ability. And again, you don't need an employer, you self-sponsor, you can do it yourself, right? And the fields of interest, they are very divergent, they're very different, but they speak of arts, sciences, business, education, athletics, whatever you can do. One of the best way to check if you qualify for EB1-A, or the most common one, is to have something that you won at a national level, maybe an award that you actually got at a national level. Maybe you were number one in athletics, right? You were number one in the 100-meter race, nationally or regionally, right? That actually can help you to apply for EB1-A because you're a person of extraordinary ability, right? That goes into different sectors in education, in a business, whatever. If you can get awards which are nationally recognized in your country or regionally, and it shows that you were number one, that in its own can actually work for you uh, to apply extraordinary ability, right? But there are many other common, about 10 categories that they actually look at, and you have to meet the three categories within that common criteria. So, as I said, this includes awards. Maybe in your PhD, you've got some written publications, media features. Were you ever in a newspaper? Leadership roles that you had? Did you judge other people on the work which is in your field and things like that, right? So if you can meet three of those categories, usually, then you meet for the EB1-A, okay? EB1-A is a bit difficult to get as compared to EB2 NIW. EB2 NIW is a bit easier. However, now EB2 NIW takes long. It takes actually about 2 years for you to get the green card from the day you did the first application. The whole process is getting longer and longer with time, right? It used to be immediate, instant, but now it's not. But EB1-A is still instant, it's still immediate. However, it's difficult to meet. The requirements are a bit more stringent, okay? But these are things that you can learn, right, in the process, all right? Then let me go to the next slide. Yeah. So this is where the challenge is. There is a gap usually about international students about how do they align their what they are doing as students and their immigration planning or immigration strategy, right? So the gap usually comes because students do things with no measurable impact, right? Whatever they are doing, there is no measurable impact. And then usually there is no strategy to link their degree with the issues to do with national priorities, national interest to the United States government. So at the end of the day, you graduate, you have a degree, you have a job, but the job that you have does not link to the national priorities. So you cannot practically apply for EB2 NIW or for EB1-A. Okay. And sometimes also people do not document what they're doing. They're doing a lot of achievements, but they're not documenting them. Right. And then there is the lack of long-term immigration planning or long-term immigration strategy for most people, right? And that's another challenge with international students. And these are the gaps that we're trying to address today. Okay. So now I want to talk about exactly your journey, right? How do you move forward? Okay. So basically, people in STEM fields, this is very straightforward. If you are in a STEM field, this is usually very straightforward. you did sciences, you did all those kind of things. uh it's usually very straightforward. Okay, you have that, you fall into a national interest by default, right? But for many people it's very difficult if they're coming from a social science background. Maybe you did social work, you did public administration, you did journalism, education, or maybe nonprofit leadership. There's things which are um very wide, and they're not necessarily in the STEM fields, right? So how do you navigate to actually align your degree, to align your work with national interest, so that you can do EB1-A or EB2 NIW? That is where the question is. Okay, so that's what we're trying to address today. So usually if you're doing something to do with social work, you can go into areas to do with public health, right? You can go into areas which link up with nonprofits or nonprofit leadership, right? Where you do work with measurable social outcomes. You can work, for example, here I gave an example of working with the homeless people, for example, right? You still do your social work, but you're doing it with homeless people, solving the homeless problem in America. It's an issue of national interest. It's not a STEM science thing, but it is actually an issue of national interest. If you can show some measurable social outcomes, uh, that can actually you can actually use that to apply for you for NIW or for EB1. Okay. um let's talk about also serving underserved markets. Maybe you're doing global business or even social work or public administration, but the question is, whatever you're doing, are you dealing with underserved markets? Are you dealing with people in the rural areas, right? How are you helping them to do something that will improve their economic livelihood? If you can do that, then you can actually use that to apply for NIW or EB1-A. Okay, so maybe in public administration you can talk about civic tech, you can talk about governance, and these days we've got artificial intelligence, right? So you can talk about the how to regulate artificial intelligence, right? How to bring ethics into artificial intelligence. Anything to do with artificial intelligence under public administration, it can also lead you to actually apply for this type of green cards, right? And maybe you are a journalist, right? The same thing happens. Your journalism, if it is bringing public awareness in an area of national interest, if it is bringing information access in an area of national interest, you can even link your journalism to things like which are already in national interest, in sciences, in technology. But your job is information access, public awareness, and things like that, right? Education, you can bring maybe teaching of innovative tools. You can even bring a gap between education or information access and artificial intelligence. Maybe you're helping people in rural areas to upskill in artificial intelligence skills, which basic artificial intelligence skills, right? So all those things you can do them. They're not necessarily that you're a programmer, you're an engineer. You're not. You're still a teacher. You're still a researcher, and you are still in the social science domain, but the work that you're doing is under the national interest of the American government, right? So there are a lot of things that you can do around that. The question is, how do you tackle it, and how do you navigate through to make sure that you get the the approved for the NIW or for the EB1-A. Okay. So the next slide here is showing you how you can align your profile. This is kind of like a 5-year strategy, right? 5-year strategy. You can make it a 2-year, 3-year, 4-year, whatever, depending with where you are. But here I am talking about what happens when you come to school. So, but this applies to anyone. Maybe you're a PhD holder, you are not in America, wherever you are. But this kind of thing, like this is exactly what it looks like when you are coming in as an international student and you're trying to make sure that things will work out for you, right? So semester one, these are the skills foundation. Uh, you are looking around, you're trying to find a skill that you can align with, that you can work on, that you can gain, so that you will get a job and also get to apply for a green card. So this is your thinking process, the time to think. You're going through a thinking process, a planning, you're strategizing. What skill can I get, right? What areas should I actually focus on? And remember, a degree is not necessarily a skill, right? If you're doing a master's in bachelor, an MBA, MBA by itself is not a skill, it's a qualification. The question is, what did you do inside that degree? Or what are you doing as outside even that degree, right? What are you good at? What are you able to do? What skills do you have? So MBA, yes, it's a qualification, but as much as it is a qualification, it's not a skill, right? Many degrees are not skills, especially in the social science domain right now. Or let's say they are not hard skills, right? You need a hard skill that you can use to implement. So we can talk about a lot of skills that you can actually focus on right now from a social science background. It depends with where you are, what you can do, what you're able to do, and your temperament also as a person. You can go into skills like project management, right? You're learning how to organize projects. So, for example, if you can learn how to do project management, maybe you can use that skill in non-profits and you help them to manage projects. If you're going to help them to manage a project about a homeless situation or case, you can actually use that whole situation to get an EB2 NIW, because solving homeless issues or homeless problems, it is an area of national interest, right? Maybe you're coming from an HR perspective. So you can actually learn project management so that you learn how to run projects in recruitment, projects in aligning workforce development, in areas of technology, right? You are the person who brings engineers, you are the person who is upskilling the engineers and then recruiting them to these big companies or wherever you're doing. But at the same time, what you're doing there, you're actually using your HR skills, which are soft skills, together with some hard skill, which is project management, then to run all these things, right? At the end of the day, you can just rise and become a leader, right? Leadership is a skill also. If you are able today to start a company and employ 10 people, that's a leadership skill, right? And you can use that leadership skill and say, hey, I'm a founder, look at what I've done, right? You can also use that leadership skill in a company. If you can get a job where you become a departmental manager, an area manager, and you're doing things that can be aligned in areas of national interest. So there are a lot of things that you can work around. But remember, a degree in itself is not a skill. You need one skill that can help you get into a place that can open doors for you, and you go and do that thing, right? And look around on what skill exactly can you actually learn and then implement that skill in a certain area. All right, like the example that we gave in the previous slide, right? So once you do this, you have now learned the skill. The next summer, if you're coming and you're following the summer progress or whatever break that you have, or when your time for internship comes, make sure you get a strategic internship, right? And at the same time, also make sure you have started writing some papers, get featured in some journals, right? Write your story, give it to people, even at your college, be published in your simple university magazine, right? Look at the local magazines in that state that you are in, right? Send your story, let them feature you in those stories. Just let people start to write about you. All those writings will compound at the end of your graduation or at the end of your OPT when you want to send in the application. But the issue is start to write some papers if you are going to be a writer, because some people are researchers, yeah, you have to write some papers, 3 4, and some people, you can do case writing, you can write a case with your professor, you can submit it at Harvard, and etc., and things like that. But start working, get an internship, start writing, get featured, right, during that time. And then in your final year, if you're going to a school where there is a capstone project or you go for an internship, right, use that one, and also get an internship, or sorry, get a project that is aligning with your skill. Get a project that aligns with your long-term immigration strategy also. Don't just pick a normal general project. Actually find a project that will align with what you're trying to do as far as immigration strategy is concerned, right? Now you graduate. Once you graduate, get a job, work as an OPT, and you're still continuing to build some evidence. Now it depends with exactly where you are. Some people can actually launch their EB2 NIW application at this stage, just after graduating. Because if you're going to write some papers while you're a student, they're now published, you have been featured, and now you get a job which is aligned to your skill, and the skill that you're having is within the areas of national interest, or the work that you're doing is within the areas of national interest. You can actually launch your application there during OPT, right? You can also wait a little bit, another 6 months, another 1 year, so that you actually get more evidence. You can continue to write papers. And also the job that you're doing during OPT, you can also then use it to actually get more evidence towards your immigration strategy and then launch your application, right? And if you're doing EB2 NIW, target to send in your application during OPT before your STEM OPT extension, because it will take you almost 2 years, about 1 year, 6 months to 2 years for you to get the green card into your hands. So that's very important. Strategize it that way. Make sure you are planning accordingly, right? Now, if you have done all these things, maybe time for filing, maybe you're filing while it's an OPT or a STEM OPT, and if that happens and then you get approved, you get a green card, right? At the end of the day, you need some strategic storytelling for immigration success. Okay, so all the things that we have been saying, the things that we're mentioning up there, now what you do is you have to strategically tell them in a way that when the officer sees it, really will say, hey, this is a story that I can approve. Okay, so now you need to bring all those achievements, the awards, the results, the data, the things that you were working for, and then you bring them in a file. You created the portfolio. Maybe you created some products. Maybe you were featured in some media. Maybe you wrote some papers. That's your portfolio of work. And then you get recommendation letters from all your professors, from the people that you worked with during internship, people that you worked with during your OPT, the professors that you're working with on writing some papers, right? And then make sure there is a concept of leadership and visibility. Maybe you started a club, maybe you were part of the leadership in a club that is aligned to the work that you're doing at your school, maybe in the state, wherever it is, right? Make sure there's some leadership visibility so that your story can be told easily. And then you are now also quantifying that impact. How many people did you impact? Or you are proposing to impact, right? Generally, if it is EB2 NIW, this has to be national. So you cannot just say, I impacted a district in Arizona. It has to be maybe national, and it has to connect many states, maybe 10 states plus, whatever you're going to do. Maybe you're saying, hey, I'm helping homeless people finding medical assistance, and we are working with hospitals, and we are working in 10 states right now, and we're planning to expand to go to 20 states in the next 2-3 years and things like that. So audience size is very important. The metrics, right? The outcomes, all those kind of things. We're kind of quantifying the impact that you did. So the strategic storytelling piece is very, very important, and you have to remember that it is very, very important, right? So having said this, now maybe I can take your questions. I just gave you a framework here to think like, hey, which questions maybe you can ask. You can ask questions, or whatever you have in your mind. You can also use this. You can just ask questions right now. So I'll be looking in the chat to actually see what the questions are, so that I can also answer those questions. Right. Welcome those who are just joining us. Thank you for coming through. I'm going to be answering questions now. All right. Yeah. So let me check the chat here. I've got a question here. Okay, so the question is saying, I have a PhD, 3 publications, supervised masters and honor students. I have 8 years of lecturing experience, and I'm still involved in examining and reviewing proposals and dissertations. Sort of the long message, my PhD is in sociology. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for the contribution. Thank you so much for the contribution. So I'm assuming that your question is, do I qualify or something like that? I'm assuming that's what to actually ask you here. So I'll try to answer it from that perspective, right? I'll try to answer it from that perspective. All right. Do I qualify for EB1-A? Okay, you finalize that, right? So it depends with the work that you proposing to be doing. I think it will be easier for you for EB2 for EB2, because you can then make a forward-thinking proposal, right? But for EB1-A, now we need to understand the type of the publications, because right now we only know that you have a PhD in sociology. We know that you're supervising master's programs. But what type of publications are they? What is sociology is very broad. Okay. So the question is, what exactly are you doing in that sociology that can actually be of national interest? That's where the question now comes in. And if we can know more about that, then the question is, how do we uh, how do we arrange the story and work towards putting it in an application? Okay, yeah. So sociology and aging, yeah, I think it's a good thing. Sociology and aging now, I think it can be the story can be told, but again, that sociology and aging, the issue is we need then to connect it with how is the American government going to benefit from this, right? But already right now, given the fact that there's an issue, a lot of people are aging in America, and we've got a large population of people who are aging, definitely you can find something to tweak around. Oh, I'll be helping people do this, or I help people to do this and do that, right? The aging population. And because it's an aging population, it's an area of national interest here in America, right? So now the story, it has to be really told today. But I think you stand a chance. Yeah. So let me use that word. I think you stand a chance to actually get approved on that. Yeah, I think you actually stand a chance. Yeah, you stand a chance to actually get approved for a EB1-A or even EB2 NIW. Yeah, but someone has to really look into the case now and analyze a lot of things and then do the strategic storytelling that I was talking about. But you stand a very, very big chance. Let's say maybe you stand right now, you're standing at about 70% chances of getting approved. And then it needs to be kind of like looked at, right? Yeah. Thank you so much for your question, Evelyn. Yeah. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Those who are just joining us, do you have questions? It's time now for me to address some questions. If you have got questions, you can actually ask them right now. You can actually ask them right now. Thank you so much for that question. And also, like in your case, Evelyn, right now, the way I'm helping people, I have a community which I am putting in courses for people to quickly learn about these things at a very nominal fee without actually working, with expensive fees of lawyers or charging abnormal fees. So maybe let me share that community right now so that people can actually see that. Let me Okay. Oh, so I'll be sharing this right now. Yeah. So this is the community that I'm developing, right? So this course is already, the EB2 NIW course is already there. As you can see it here. If you come here, there are videos, there are lectures. You will actually be learning a lot of these things, right? Um, so this is the community. I hope you are seeing it. Let me stop again and share again here. Um, Okay, let me see. Okay. Yeah, so this is the community. You'll be seeing a lot of things here like this. I hope you're seeing my screen here. Yeah, it's coming out. Right. So this is the community. Once you come here, you come to the classroom. If you come to the classroom, there are different courses here. How to start your business on OPT and STEM, right? EB2 NIW course, the EB1-AW, I'm compiling it. I'll be done, I think, by the end of this week, right? And the EB2 also, I'll be revamping it. For the updates, right? So this community, all these things, we're also going to bring career guidance into this community. We're also going to bring upskilling, AI upskilling for people just to learn. But all these things will be coming under one price. So usually this course alone, I was just it was $149, and this one also was charged separately. This one also is supposed to be charged separately. But in terms of just helping people, I'm bringing everything under one community, and it will be just costing you $149. So if you get this link, it will just be $149. Let me put this link actually in the chat so that you can actually have it. So it's just $149. I think we'll keep this price until the end of December, or I will see maybe mid-December before we upgrade the price, because we'll be doing a lot of things. Yeah. So like this is the community that we have, right? So I'm seeing here, let me check the questions again. Another question to get in touch with you if I need with us. Yeah, so thank you so much for the question. So to actually get more help from me, if you just join the community like the other people in the community, you can have access to me. We will be also having like bi-weekly, sometimes weekly, but at least we have about 2 meetings every month, right? Where we discuss people's cases, we look at exactly what you are doing, where you are, and then I give you feedback, and then we strategize with you. I strategize with you. And there are also templates, right? So these courses will come with templates. They also come with templates. So you'll just be using templates to actually do this, right? So for example, in some of these courses, they're actually important documents. Like here, if you come, right? So you see here, there's a template here for actually my case that I did myself. You can actually use this template, and then you just start to write your own, right? So this is like my letter, other templates for the courses. We also put all those things inside here. They will be inside here. All those things will be inside here, right? As you can see. So yes, to answer your question, you can have access with me. So for this not to be expensive for a lot of people, I am now working with this in the community. I help people through the community, and it works much better. It works much very, very cheap, right? For people to actually have access to me, right? So yeah, not I can't see. I think you're now seeing, right? I think you're now seeing, because other people are now seeing, right? Just type if you are now seeing here. Just type if you are now seeing, right? Yeah. So any other questions, guys, towards this? Any other questions? Just let me know if you have other questions that we can address, or we can talk about. Yeah. Another questions. Oh, what the person was saying, I'm not seeing. What is your area? Where are you in this stage? Are you studying a master's program? Are you a PhD holder? Have you graduated? What exactly? How does it exactly look like? Let's just start from there. How exactly does it look like? How exactly does that look like? If you can type. Yeah, but this is it, guys. So thank you so much for attending. Thank you so much for coming. If you want to work with me, the link is here for the community. Get into the community, and we do one-on-one. I'll give you strategy. I'll be speaking with you one-on-one in that community. Um, Studying a master's, but I also have an MBA from UZ. Okay, all right. Yeah. So if you're in the if you're in the USA, I think the master that you're doing right now will position you better than the MBA from UZ. What you can also do then is you just try to make sure that you follow what I was teaching about aligning your skills to um, aligning your skills to the to the through the national interest waiver, like I was teaching in this waiver. Okay, right. That's the most important thing. Yeah, you can also join the community and you learn more, right? Because the other thing is you need to learn about these things. Let me be honest with you. You need to learn, you need to know what you're doing. What exactly am I doing? A lot of people think they instantly qualify. You can actually, you have a master's, a PhD, or whatever, but instantly qualifying you usually works for people in STEM fields because they don't even know that they qualify. Some of them. You have to tell, oh no, you qualify because you have this, that, this. But a lot of other people, you have to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, right, for you to then qualify. Okay. On my side, I am currently doing masters in project management. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, so the project management actually now can actually help you to, your PhD. Great, it's great. The project management actually gives you an actual skill to do something, right? And then argue your case. Okay. So you are overqualified as far as education is concerned. But the question is, what exactly are you doing? Project management then gives you that skill to organize people, to bring them together. And then maybe working with nonprofits and saying we are doing things to do in this aging sector, right? So it's a journey that you have to walk, do something and work maybe for the next 6 months while you're working on it. And then you send in your application, or maybe in the next 9 months. And then you send in your application. So, like, again, let me go back again. It's not like you automatically qualify, okay? It's not like automatically you qualify. Usually, what happens is you work towards it. You add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things, and then you bring in the story, use strategic storytelling. Yeah. But yeah, that's thank you so much, Evelyn, for actually saying all those things. So join the community, you learn a lot, guys. In the community, I speak with you even one-on-one. And sometimes when we have this bi-weekly meeting, some people don't pitch up, right? And we end up having just two people, end up having one person, and then we look into your case. Yeah, and then I actually help you to structure your case. We talk about this on a regular basis. But being part of the community makes this process cheaper because there is a lot of money that can actually come out of this. Just to speak with a lawyer, you need about $250 for them to tell you don't qualify. And even if you qualify, sometimes they tell you don't qualify again. And they don't teach you how to create the evidence. They don't teach you how to position yourself so that you qualify. Usually they just need people from sciences because they automatically qualify, right? But that's what we are doing here. We are trying to make you work so that you qualify, you get this thing. It has to be on the top of your head. You have to work towards it. Yeah, so I'm really grateful for you guys for you coming through and learning this thing, right? Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions, guys. This is the link to the community. Make sure you get into the community. I'll be speaking with you directly into the community. I no longer speak with people one-on-one. Yeah, it's very expensive for both of us, me and you also. But I still really want to help people get green cards. That's why I created this community. And that community are going to add a lot of things like AI skills. A lot of things going to be very, very big. I'll just bring in more other things that I teach people aside and bring them in that community so that people can learn within the same price. So we're keeping this price maybe for the next 30 days of 149. Once we add a lot of other things, maybe we just shift it to about 225, 250 thereabout, and then we keep it there. But guys, thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Evelyn, for coming. Thank you, Manya, for coming. I'll see you in the community. I'll send in the link for the community. So I hope to see you inside the community. Someone says I'm doing STEM MS in applied finance. Yeah, it is. Yeah, but as I said, you need to learn more about how to connect that. But applied finance is way much suitable, right? You can do things to do with financial inclusion. You can do things to do with raising capital, right? My application was actually based on finance, right? But finance in the startup field and entrepreneurship. That's where I focused on entrepreneurship and startup field. But still, it was finance. So those are the things that you need to learn, right? Yeah, like I say, you cannot just wake up and say, "Do I qualify?" Many people want to wake up qualifying, but it doesn't work that way. You have to learn how. Now, in the applied finance, what exactly should I attack? Who should I help? Right? Maybe you are going to say, I'm helping underprivileged people to get access to finance. And these people are found in rural areas. And I'm building this application so that they can actually get financing easily. Or I'm helping them get good credit scores, blah, 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 blah. Things around those ways. And then you put in the application. So these are things that you actually learn and you do. And you need to have the willingness to learn, right? You have the willingness to learn. Ditch your profession from Africa. Ditch it. Put it in the bin. Start afresh. Just collect your education from Africa, collect leadership experience from Africa, and bring it on the table, right? Bring your PhD from Africa if you have a PhD or a master's from, yes, bring that master's degree. But as far as structuring how you get a job here, how you're going to get a green card, you need new ideas. You need new ideas. And that's what the community also helps you with. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, guys. I'm really happy, guys, to see you here. Thank you so much for attending. I'll be seeing you in the community. May God richly bless you and stay blessed. So, yeah, bye-bye.